I just commented on it. I just have nothing more to say in addition to this except emotions. Do you understand? And the question is that it seems to me that it has already become clear, even to the citizens of Ukraine, that Zelensky simply chained them to this very pillar of his own corruption, poured blood on them, and simply mocks the entire people of Ukraine. That's what's going on. And then, unfortunately, if this bloody madman is not stopped, it will be worse. Thank you very much.
Maria Vladimirovna, I would like to ask another question. Argentine President Javier Milei deleted all joint photos with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky on his social media page, after a quarrel that occurred between Zelensky and US President Donald Trump. What is the probability that this trend will continue and Zelensky will gradually fall into isolation in the international arena and turn into an outcast?
You know, it's like children who cover their face with their hands and think they can't be seen. Here they have some kind of the same attitude to photography. It seems to me that they have not outgrown the period of a century ago when photography was just invented. They all live in some illusions that you can take a picture and it will mean, I do not know, there is some kind of victory. And if you don't take a picture or don't let someone take a picture, it means defeating someone. And if, let's say, to tear up a photo, it means there, I do not know, some other sacred phenomenon for them. Now, for some reason, they are erasing these photos and deleting them, despite the fact that there is a concept of internet cache memory in which all this is forever already. And everyone just laughs watching this process. I don't know, I think it's just some kind of how painful infantilism is.
That's fine. Please tell me, yes, we have 3 questions today. Purely pathetically, the negotiations between Donald Trump and Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
Right here, right away, there is not hypothetically, in any way. We do not comment, first of all, because these are negotiations of the heads of state. This is the prerogative of the presidential administration. And secondly, there is no need to engage in fantasy right now. It just won't help matters.
But we can also potentiate what will happen in the director and our position of Russian speakers in the Baltic states in these negotiations.
You can.
Or for now.
I'm talking about myself now, so you can definitely. But in this case, we do not comment on the issue of negotiations between the heads of state, and especially those that have not yet been announced.
The second question I would like to draw your special attention to. We have a Russian citizen, a former riot policeman, Konstantin Nikulin, arrested in Lithuania, and he was awarded a life sentence. He has been in prison for more than 15 years, allegedly executed for participating in the shooting at the customs checkpoint of a copper worker on the 31st of July of the 91st year. So the guilt has not been proven, there is no ballistic examination, the evidence has disappeared, everything is sewn with white threads. There is even information that the British SAS took part in order to strengthen the negotiating position of the US at that time. George H.W. Bush on Gorbachev, the separation of Lithuania, and then the subsequent collapse of the USSR. But I don't even know how to formulate it, because could it be again the subject of negotiations at the highest level?
Again, we do not comment on these negotiations in any way. As for Konstantin Nikulin, he was indeed illegally convicted in Lithuania as part of an extremely politicized case. Numerous violations were committed both in terms of assessing the factual circumstances of the case and, of course, legal qualifications. No real evidence of his guilt was given. Witness statements were not taken into account. We protect his rights on an ongoing basis, in cooperation with lawyers. The issue is under special control of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our embassy in Lithuania, and we always approach all requests of our compatriot without unnecessary bureaucracy. We are in constant contact with him. Every month Russian diplomats visit him in the colony. He is provided with the necessary moral and material support, as well as work carried out with the prison administration, as a result of which it was possible to improve the conditions of his detention, thanks to the efforts of our embassy. We have obtained from the Lithuanian side the necessary examinations of our citizen. We demand timely medical assistance to him. The Russian competent authorities have repeatedly requested the transfer of Konstantin Yurevich to Russia, in accordance with the Russian-Lithuanian agreement on the transfer of persons sentenced to imprisonment from June 25, 2001 years for serving their sentences. The Lithuanian side refused this. As for the prospects of his release using other mechanisms, this topic does not imply publicity. Period.
Let's hope so. And the final question. The BRICS Union has already existed since the year 2009. Last year, our country's chairmanship in this association was successfully completed, but at the same time, there are organizations that are trying to affiliate themselves with the activities of the BRICS, well, hiding behind the flag of the association, implementing their own projects. In particular, there is information in the media right now that there is such an organization as the International Alliance of BRICS Strategic Projects. Does the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation support the activities of this organization?
You know, to be honest, we have no direct relation to this structure. I can't say anything about it.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question again? What are the foreign ministry's agreements? What advantages does the Russian side have at these meetings in order to eliminate the root causes of the conflict and reach a firm agreement that suits Russia? You know, it seems to me that we need to talk about the advantage of our country, not in any specific negotiations, but in principle in this situation, in this historical context. Our advantage is that the truth is on our country. This is the strongest advantage. This is an advantage that inspires. This is an advantage that gives strength, even in the most desperate situations. This is an advantage that helps to find the right way. That's really it. Because how many times in our history have there been when, but there seems to be no way out. And suddenly, if our cause is really right, he is. In this case, there is no doubt that the truth is on our side. Or should I say, we are on the side of the truth, and we are fighting for it, do you understand? We didn't just cling to this truth in order, you know, to somehow survive a difficult moment, or, so to speak, to hold on, as we used to say, for red. No, we defend it. We are trying to return her abused, even raped somewhere, mangled, distorted truth to its original appearance. We are fighting for the truth, for basic ideas about man and humanity. We are fighting for historical facts, for those people who gave their lives, again for the truth. That's the advantage. Undeniable. And the one that cannot be blocked with anything. Now, as for Russia's position on regulation, it is well known and remains unchanged. I won't be going around and around for a long time on this score. I will say what I think needs to be said in this case. And it was in this very hall on the 14th of June of the 24th year that the President of the Russian Federation voiced the basic position in detail on the Russian view of the complex situation and the way out of it. That's our approach. Everything is formulated there. Thank you, Maria Vladimirovna. And can I have another little comment? And since the United States is also communicating, and today Marco Rubio said that the conflict in Ukraine is actually a proxy war between two nuclear powers, and Russia and the United States. In other words, this is how, in this vein, we can use these proposals formulated by the President in communication with the United States. Sorry again, I didn't hear you. Yes, but since there is a concept that the President outlined on June 14th, speaking at the Foreign Ministry here, and there is a statement, for example, by the American Secretary of State, made just today, that the conflict in Ukraine is a proxy war between two nuclear powers of the United States and Russia. That is like this. Is that Macron? Are you talking about Macron? I just don't know. No, Rubio's schmark today So once again, let's just be interrupted all the time. Mark Rubio has declared a proxy war, that the conflict in Ukraine, a proxy war between two nuclear powers, Russia and the USA. It has been said about this repeatedly in the White House that if it had not been for the previous American administration, the situation would have been completely different, and that it is the work of Biden and his team to unleash this conflict. They said so. Call it whatever you want, or quote anyone there. Proxy, not proxy. We used the word hybrid war, multi-component. To be honest, I don't want to analyze what Rubio said right now. I want to say our position. Well, the truth is, it only finds more and more confirmations. Indeed, a hybrid war was launched against us. Many, by the way, I remember, grimaced and said, "Come on, do you remember how Schultz also laughed that he was supposedly amused by the fact that there was a genocide of the Russian-speaking and Russian population in the Donbass under the Kiev regime?" No, it is. This is a hybrid war, which is based on the reincarnation of neo-Nazism as an ideology and various tools, including those times with elements of genocide pronounced, when the population of a certain ethnic and socio-cultural group had to either leave the territories on their own or mimic the requirements that were presented to them, are completely incompetent. How similar it all is to the plan of the rest. Therefore, it just acquired a new technological character. This obviously had another trade component of trade wars, the redistribution of spheres of influence, the redistribution of the sphere of markets, not the sphere of markets, but the redistribution of markets. Well, yes, that's what we called it. I'm just going to repeat once again. This is being confirmed more and more, and more political and statesmen are making statements specifically denouncing the wrongness, and in some places, even perhaps, the obvious lies of the West, which blamed Russia for everything. They say that the West is to blame. It's the voices of the West that are already spreading. This confirms precisely that we are right. Thank you, Marina Vladimirovna. Thank you. Is Radio Saga with us?